Hi guys, what's up? Welcome to my channel. My name is Codi Smith, and today I wanted to do a really quick video on mirroring. So I asked people what they wanted to hear about, and they really don't understand the concept of mirroring, so I thought that I would cover it from my perspective. So mirroring is basically just the idea that there's this law of reflection or law of mirroring in this world that's kind of like the law of attraction, except for it's the law of mirroring. And what that means is that all the things outside of us are just a mirror to what's going on inside of us. And I remember back before I started on my personal ascension journey myself, I never quite understood what they meant by mirroring. I was constantly like telling myself, well, that doesn't sound like me. I don't understand this concept. So I do understand where people get confused here. And so mirroring is really just the reflection of who we are. So you recognize traits in other people, and then you realize that that's actually a trait that's within you, or maybe you're so afraid of that trait coming true for you. So really, the best way to explain this is that just like in the physical world, we have a mirror so that we can see ourselves. So it would be really difficult for us to do our hair or our makeup without being able to see in an actual mirror, right? Well, it's the same concept for consciousness. So consciousness cannot see itself. So we have other parts of us, which is really other people. I mean, yes, we have an ego, and we could go down that rabbit hole, but bear with me here. All the people around us are just reflecting our own consciousness to show us what we cannot see, because the observer cannot observe the self. So that's why it's important that we recognize that the people around us are really just mirroring what's inside of us. So this goes for good and bad traits. This goes like, let's say that you admire somebody because they are strong and powerful and strong-willed, and they show up and do a good job at work, and you really like being around that person because of that. That's because they are mirroring something within you. They're mirroring that trait within yourself that you have denied or you haven't completely owned for yourself. You admire that because somewhere inside of you, there is this trait, but you're not receptive to it, knowing this because you've blocked yourself off from it. And this is kind of what being on our awakening and ascension journey has, or I guess this is kind of something that it's really a really nice tool to use to become more self-aware, because that's what really awakening is about, is becoming more self-aware, becoming more conscious, and all the way down to our cellular memories and our cellular level. So the more that we embody this awareness and this consciousness, the more that we're actually changing our cellular memory as well, which is super cool, because if you think about it, our future generations are going to have a huge, or we're going to have a huge effect on the future generations for what we are programming ourselves and DNA with right now in this moment. Anyways, when it comes to mirroring, you want to be able to look at these traits, even if they are a negative trait, and see if you could find that within yourself. But I'll always do it with love and compassion. I want to stress this because the truth is that we're not trying to shame ourselves and blame ourselves for our mishaps and the things that we haven't really integrated and healed. We don't want to shame ourselves for this stuff. Literally, that's what our journey on earth is for, is so that we can learn these things and so that we can really start to integrate them back into who we are. So when we find those unhealed parts of ourselves in other people, then we can look at those through compassion and love, and then be aware of these things and start to work towards them. So here's a perfect example. I have in my life attracted relationships where where the other person would be labeled a narcissist. It's because they're really unaware. They are really self-centered, whatever. I'm not getting all into that. But there was one particular day when we went to go get the mail, and they're notorious for lying, right? So we went to go get this mail, and I got it, and we had a letter from the HOA, and I was like, oh, do we owe them money? And he literally said no. And I could literally see it on his lap, and I was like, are you sure we don't owe them money? What is the letter about then? And he was like, no, we don't owe them money. And then, you know, I knew that we did because I could see it. And it was okay because we owed money because of our dues. Every year we pay the dues, right? The HOA dues. That's fine. It's nothing to hide. But the truth is that he, instead of just saying, yes, we owe them money, he was beating around the bush with it and telling me no. And he was completely lying about it. And that triggered me. It triggered me. And I remember getting really angry about it. And I was like thinking to myself, why can't he just tell me the truth? And what triggered me the most was that he was lying to me and that I felt like I could not trust him. So when we look at ourselves, when we can take that and those two traits, lying and not trusting, what I had to do was to look at myself and say, Codi, where are you lying to yourself in your life? And where are you not trusting yourself? So are you lying to yourself and not trusting yourself? Because you're recognizing this quality in somebody else. And so now this is your opportunity to take that and heal from that. You see what I mean? And so even when we're in situations that can make us feel very uncomfortable or very angry or triggered, these are our perfect opportunities to look at ourselves and figure out the characteristic or how we feel in that situation and see how we can apply it to us and start to ask ourselves the questions and start to look inside and say, well, where am I doing this? Where am I not being in integrity with myself? Where am I not trusting myself? Where am I lying to myself? And then start to shift that. And the more that you do that, the more you become aware. And the more aware you become, the higher your vibration comes. Because that's when you start to transmute that negative or dark energy. And I want to point something out, that negative and dark energy is not an evil thing. It's just the other spectrum. It's on the other polar side of light and love. Fear and darkness and all that. They're just polarizing. And so we shouldn't necessarily hate and look at that like it's a bad thing, but rather as a learning experience, because we have to have polarity to learn. So, and grow. So, let's see. Yes. The macrocosm and the microcosm. This is a perfect example. The external world is the macrocosm, right? It's the large picture. And we look to that large picture to see what's going on inside of us at the microcosmic level. Because this universe has been proven that we live in a holographic universe. If you look into quantum physics and you study that kind of stuff, you'll understand what I'm talking about. If not, check it out. But we live in a universe that is a holographic universe. So as above, so below. What's happening in the macrocosm is just a reflection of what is happening in the microcosm or inside. And that is where we find the true healing. So once we do this, like I said, we can transmute all the fear or the unjust or the trust issues or lying to ourselves, these types of things, or, you know, other characteristics, obviously. We can transmute those things, and that is when we can step into that higher, those higher states of consciousness within our lives right here, right now, in our lifetime, so that we can ascend to higher levels and help wake up and heal the planet and raise the consciousness of the planet collectively. So I hope this video was helpful for you and it makes sense now what mirroring is really about, and that you can go out and find the mirrors around you so you could start doing your healing. What it does take, though, is for us to really be honest with ourselves and to be self-aware. But please do it with compassion and love for yourself and the people that are just the pawns or the players in the game to show you more of who you are. So with that being said, have a beautiful day, and I will talk to you guys another time. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel.